How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the DJI Spark. I know you're probably thinking another DJI Spark video, Joe. Come on, we've seen a million of these already, and that's true, but the YouTube algorithm seems to like them, so I'm making another one. And today's is going to be all about the footage that this Spark can produce in, I guess, kind of a novice's hands, right? A lot of the time you see really professional footage with this being flown by a professional pilot and stuff, but what I wanted to do was get a really straightforward footage test of this drone here in 2020. But first I'm going to need something from you. I'm going to need you to go down below and hit the like button for me because, well, I'm a poor college student and it doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out. Anyway, let's get on to the video. Obviously, the drone shoots exactly the same way that it did back when it was released, I think in 2017. Nothing has changed about this little camera. It's still the same piece of technology, but the thing that we're going to be comparing it to nowadays is really whether or not a 1080p, I believe half megapixel, maybe even less. Actually, yes, half-inch sensor. It has 12 megapixel camera on it, which is, it's pretty small. The lens is equivalent to a 35mm lens, and it has an f-stop of 2.6, which is actually really good for such a small little camera there. The video, which is mainly where you're probably going to be using this for, has an ISO range of 100 to 3200. You don't want to shoot much higher than that, because I mean it would look like crap anyway. So the video resolution though is kind of a big thing. It seems to be a big thing, but really this is a number that doesn't actually matter too much. It only shoots 1080p, but if you have done any research into cameras, you know cameras at all 1080ps are not created equal, remotely so. In fact, no video resolution is created equal. A phone nowadays can shoot 4K. It sure as heck doesn't look as good as a 4K cinema camera. What really makes the difference is your sensor size and your megapixels, right? That's where you get the detail in. Right now you might be thinking, great, that was just a whole bunch of numbers that I don't understand and don't really have a bearing on how good the camera is. And to be honest, you'd be right, which is why I'm going to show you some test footage that I've shot, just cinematic footage from other things that I filmed in the past, because in my experience that is the best and really only way to judge a camera quality. Now if we're talking about camera quality, you're looking at these videos, what I've found is because of the small sensor size, it doesn't really do well in low light at all. I mean, kind of think of it more of like a phone camera, right? If you've got an iPhone or an Android, you're not really going to do super well in low light with it. Why? Because the sensor size, super small. It can't take in a whole lot of light. Because of this, it also struggles with those highlights and shadows. When you have a ton of contrast between them, your shadows are going to get blown out and they're just going to be, well, they're going to be completely black. And since the Spark is not capable of shooting raw footage, there's really no way to fully salvage that shadows, right? You're still gonna get a ton of grain even if you boost up the shadows, try to lighten them up. It's gonna deteriorate the quality of the video. Because of the limitations of the camera on the Spark, you gotta know how you can use it, when you can use it, or when it's just gonna turn out super grainy and ugly and you won't even use that footage for your video anyway. For me, it works best in the middle of the day or when there's pretty high light areas, because it's able to take in all that information. You can keep the ISO lower, which boosts up your detail, and it just, I mean, it's much easier on a relatively poor camera, I suppose, on the Spark. I wanted to show this footage because when I was looking at videos for the Spark, thinking about whether I should get it or not, I always saw these really professional, really cool drone shot videos in like Iceland or something. Just these magnificent locations. But the fact of the matter is, I don't live in a magnificent location. You probably don't live in a magnificent location. So it's not very practical test. I wanted to film some cool areas around me in the national park and stuff like that, but they're nowhere near as cool as, say, Iceland. But you know what is magnificent is you, because you hit the like button down below for me, right? Anyway, moving on. If you found the footage off of this drone look good to you, well then, hey, I mean, I'm glad I could clear up the air on the capabilities of this little drone here. But there are a few things that I want to point out that pertain to shooting video footage on this drone that aren't specifically related to the video quality, but more your quality of experience while you're filming with it. For one, the Spark has an incredibly short fly time, and this is something that I kind of underestimated when I bought it. See, it's got these really small batteries. I have 2 of these. Each one of these batteries, they supply about 10 to 11 minutes of fly time while you're filming, which seems okay, but in practice really is not enough time. The fact of the matter is, within 10 minutes, you really need to get those shots that you needed done, which means you have to plan ahead. Like, way before you're gonna pull out this drone, turn it on, send it up into the sky, you need to know where you're going with the drone so that you can actually get that good footage. Then after about 10 minutes, you're gonna have to pull this back, pop off this battery, throw another one on there, and you're back in business. But you're only back in business for like another 10 minutes. And I can't tell you the number of times where I've been at a really cool place, shooting really cool drone footage, but I might have been a little bit disappointed with the stuff that I shot, and I wish that I could get it up again, but you know, I'd already spent my 20 minutes and I had to get back home, plug this in. It takes about an hour at least for each one of these batteries to charge, and by the time you're done with that, I mean, the moment has passed. You've been gone for 2 hours. The sunset it's set, right? And you might be saying, well, you could just carry extra batteries with you, and you could, but they're like 50 bucks each, so who wants to do that? Now, the last thing that I will say about shooting with the DJI Spark is that there are a lot of really cool shots that you can get with this little drone that I wouldn't really feel comfortable doing with a $1,200 Mavic. The small size of it really makes it agile enough to go through little areas, zooming through, you know, cracks in trees or space between branches, or like in a little kind of cave or ravine, something like that. You don't have to worry about a drone that's like twice its size, right, trying to fit into the same spots, even if it is a better camera. The other thing is, this thing is 400 bucks and it's extremely durable, which means I've got a lot of confidence flying this even in crazy situations. I mean, I have literally crashed this into a river. It was underwater 2 feet and it survives. It's flying just fine now. I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm not suggesting that that would be a good thing to do, but that's, in my experience, not a hindrance to the Spark. 2 feet of water. 2 feet. The fact of the matter is that the DJI Spark still is exactly what DJI designed it to be. It is a very good, if not perfect, beginner drone. I would like a better camera on it, but that's not really the purpose of the Spark. If the camera, the 1080p, and all the footage that you saw earlier, if that's good enough for you and you want to try learning flying a drone, just get your first drone footage under your belt. This is exactly the drone that you want. You don't have to worry about these arms breaking, they're built in. It means it doesn't fold up as small, but it's also way more durable. So there's handoffs here and there, but all in all, it's, in my opinion, barring the poor camera, it's pretty much the perfect beginner drone. Anyways, sorry to ramble. I hope that you found this video helpful and informative, and if you did, again, please give me a like down below. It really helps me out. Maybe even hit that subscribe button too if you're interested in seeing more stuff from me. But until then, guys, have a good one. Peace out.